Okay, so the devotional today really hit home. I like it just made me have some like personal, just like deep thoughts, and I was like, oh wow, calling me out right here. So it was super good, and so I think that people could apply to it with themselves and just like asking for prayer, because how many times have you prayed for something and you're like, God, why are you not answering me? God, you are irritating the crap out of me. Like, you have not given me a sign, you have not talked to me, you have not given me this. I know so many times I've asked God and I've talked to him, I've prayed to him, and I was asking for a specific thing and I didn't receive that specific thing. Or I didn't receive it in the way that I wanted it to. So I was confused and I was like, God, I asked you for this sign, but now I'm kind of seeing this sign. Does this mean that I need to like do this or go this direction or whatever it might be? And so that was kind of like the conflicting view that I've had this past week with just like other things in my life. And I think a lot of people in this season or in this moment are going through life, which everybody goes through life, so it's not even really fair to say people are going through life. Everybody goes through life is life. But some people are hitting different seasons where they've never been through seasons before, and I'm in a season of life right now. I feel like, and I was talking to someone yesterday, but this entire year has been a very weird, changing, awkward season for me, where I've never faced it before. I've faced a lot of just like questions and growth and obstacles, but also discomfort, in which we know discomfort allows us to grow. And so I face a lot of growing pains, and it's been weird, but I know it's been always good to have it. And so I've questioned a lot about what God is doing. And I was really honest with y'all like a couple weeks ago, saying that like for the past 2 months I hadn't really heard God as much as I wanted to, but it didn't mean that I lost my faith. It was just knowing that, okay, God, what are you working through this season? And so I'm going to move rooms just because his squeaky toy, he can be really loud, and I don't want that to be like a bother to anybody, and that's going to bug me. And then he tries to follow me to the room. No. Okay. So I'm going to read y'all off this, and it was super, super good. So it says asking, and it's under the devotional, under the Bible app. If y'all don't have the YouVersion Bible app, it's really, really good. But it's called What is God Doing? And this one today, it says asking. And then it says, when you talk to God, what are you asking for? A lot of times we get frustrated because we're totally focused on something, asking God for answers or to do something for us, and it seems as if he's silent. Could it be that the problem is not with God, but it is with whatever we're asking for? God's top priority is drawing people closer to him. So if you're desperately seeking an answer to some big question, what's going to happen? Where do I go to school? Should I date him or her? God certainly wants to give you wisdom and help their answer those questions, but perhaps he isn't going to immediately whisper in your ear the clear and simple answer you're hoping for. Maybe he's hoping to lead you into his word for answers, or have someone in your life speak some wisdom or encouragement, or draw you to spend more and more time with him as you wrestle with the issue. Also, sometimes we miss the voice of God because we're not asking for what God is most concerned about. Don't mishear me. God loves you and absolutely wants to hear everything that's important to you. But again, God's greatest priority is drawing other people closer to him. You're about to read another story of Elijah where he asked God for something huge, a massive display of fire from heaven, not a small prayer. But what I want to focus on is the reason Elijah prayed this. He desperately wanted God's power to be seen by a massive group of people who had utterly forgotten who God was. This prayer of Elijah's was all about seeing other people come back. All about seeing other people come back to God. And that is a huge factor in why God did give the answer he did. When it comes to what you're asking for God, is the priority God's glory being put on the display, or are you asking God to make himself known to your friends or to draw you closer to him? Or are you asking for prayers focus on simply what your life would be more comfortable, if your life would be more comfortable? If you feel like God is being oddly quiet, lean into him and check the substance of your prayers. If you're asking for things that put the spotlight on God, you're much more likely to hear or see an answer. But if you're like more than likely to like pray for yourself and the selfish tendencies that you have, chances are he's going to be a little bit more silent, and he's going to have you draw closer and closer and closer to him. And I can tell you guys from actual experience, whenever I don't feel God as much, whenever I don't hear him as much, I know it's time for me to check my intentions. And yesterday when I was journaling, this past week, I'd been praying for some things, and it's just been like a back and forth type of battle. Like I said, I feel like this past year I've just been shown a lot about things that I didn't realize that were selfish in my tendencies and my leadership, just selfish in like all around areas of my life. And so I think God was challenging me in a lot of ways to say, you have to pull back from that selfishness and draw closer to me and realize what your actual intention should be. And I think a lot of us may be praying for something and you're frustrated, or praying for something, or maybe you're praying for new team members to work, or you're praying for a perspective on something, or you're praying for your kids to do this, or whatever it might be, and you're not receiving it as quickly as you want. We always know that obviously in the waiting period, God's always going to like help you through that. But also, I never even knew this perspective until I read that today. And I was like, okay, I already prayed for my intentions behind things. So if you've never even done that, that would be the first step, is to pray for your pure intentions behind things. Because sometimes I've prayed for things. Sometimes I've prayed for team members. Sometimes I've prayed for the team members that I joined to work, or sometimes I prayed for, money or something with my family or whatever. And I'll look back and I'll look at the reasons why I prayed for that. And it was because it would bring me comfort. It wasn't because it would bring them comfort, or it wasn't because I could change their life or things like that. It was genuinely because I needed to feel validation for something. And I think a lot of us have those tendencies without even realizing it. And I think that we get frustrated and then we're like pissed off and we're like going off on God. And some people think that if you go off on God, or if you sit here and get angry at God, that you're going to get punished. And that's definitely not it. If you could be in this room sometimes, you'd be like, Macy, are you crazy? Like, me and God have a continual conversation, and sometimes I do yell, sometimes I do get frustrated, because I'm like, God, where are you at? Like, I've been preaching to people about you for almost, I don't even know how long it's been now, I guess 8 months on this. And then I've been talking to people, I've been doing the right things, I've been trying to be a good steward, and still here you are with silence. And when I read that today, I literally heard and felt him say, your tendencies are not correct and are not aligned with my tendencies. You need to reevaluate those. And every time I sit here and feel a silence of him, I dig deeper into the word. So before I did work this morning, I sat there and did my Bible study like I always do. And I've told y'all time and time again, that you can sit here and pray for all the things. You can sit here and ask God for the things, but I can promise you this, you will never get such closeness and the feeling of knowing him and being connected with him more than prayer and reading your Bible. And I can tell y'all that from personal experience. And I still work with that every single day. There are some days where I'm like, I don't want to read the Bible. I can't understand this thing. Like, I totally get it. So what I do is, if I read something, I have a devotional, and under that devotional, it has a scripture under it to recommend what you should read. Then I go read that, and then I break it down. If I don't understand a lick of what it's saying, I just write a message right beside it. I'm like, God, I don't understand. Can you help me translate this? And like, some way, shape, or form, I somehow get an answer. And it might not be vocally, because we all know that he can't like speak and you can't hear him, but you can feel him, you can feel his presence, and then we'll have some similarity or some coincidence pop up, and you realize that it's just a God circumstance. It's not necessarily a coincidence. And so I think a lot of us, or I say a lot of us, but me personally, this was kind of my breakthrough this morning, because I was praying last night and I was reading the Bible app and things like that. And I was just like, what? Okay, where is the disconnect with what I'm doing and what I'm praying for and what I'm wanting and then what I'm not getting? Where is this disconnect? And then when I felt that this morning, or when I read that this morning, I was like, I'm leaving you out of it. This is awkward. And so, as someone who is like constantly going through their faith journey, I think that should give y'all some type of hope to see that you're not alone, and that even no matter where you feel like you're at in your faith journey, you're going to fail along the way. So don't be afraid or scared to step into something, and something so new with this, with like your faith and prayer and stuff, and be like, oh, I don't know how to do it. I'm going to do it wrong. There's literally no wrong way. I read a book yesterday. I was out by the pool, and I was reading Winning the War in Your Mind, and it was by Craig Rochelle. And he was like, some people have this misconception that you have to sit here and pray. And when you pray, you have to end it with amen. You have to pray and you have to end it with this type of wording, or you have to start it with this type of wording, or it has to be this long. And that's just no, just pray. And I promise you, you will never feel such a deeper connection if you consistently just start praying. And it can be as simple, and I've already told you all this before, like Dallas always prays, and his is more of just like a hey God, can you talk to me? Yeah, like you're great, thanks. Like, and that's just his personality, and it's totally fine, and it works for him, and he feels connected with God. Like, I'm not gonna judge that. You know, if you cuss and you're talking to God, I'm honestly not gonna judge that. I don't care. Like, I don't think God cares how you present it, as long as you're starting to focus on really connecting with him. And I think that that's what he was trying to tell me this morning while I was reading that, because I was feeling so distraught yesterday. I was really discouraged yesterday, not business related, just like in life. I was just down. I was just like, why is this like, I don't know, why does this cycle keep happening to me? And that's where I felt like him speaking, saying, you constantly are running after this thing, but you're leaving me out of it every single time. And that's why you're missing it. And then you get discouraged and you get mad at me that I didn't bless it, but you weren't even supposed to have it without me in the first place. And it's crazy, because it's funny, like when you just sit in a moment of silence. And I also read this last night in a devotional on the it's called YouVersion Bible app. It's just the Bible app, but it's called YouVersion. So it's the Craig Rochelle version. I don't know how many versions there are, but that's what he has downloaded. But you can look up all different types of plans. You can add friends on it. Friends can hold you accountable on it. I have friends on there, but I don't do Bible studies with friends. Like, I just do them alone. But anyways, so it was talking about how many times have you ever just sat in silence without a screaming baby in the background, or without a screen in your way, or without constant chatter of other people. Like, how many times have you actually just sat there in silence, closed your eyes or kept them open, but really close them, and just say, God, can you speak to me? Like, what do you want me to know? And I promise you, like, if you've never meditated before, so I told myself I was going to get back into meditating, because my sister is like, swears by meditating. She literally gets so many meditating books. Like, she reads about it all the time. She loves meditating. And every time she stays over at my house, she's like, okay, leave me alone for 20 minutes. Don't come in here. I don't need your dog coming in here, because I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, say no more. And she just feels this instant peace during the day because of that meditation. And it's like 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you can do it, but it's just an active silence and just listening to what God has. And I know some people are like, but how do you listen? Like, he's not going to speak to you. No, but thoughts are going to come to your mind of peace. And I promise you, it's really weird. And like I said, last night I was just praying and I was like, God, I just need you to speak to me. Like, what do you want me to see? I'm here in silence. It's right before I'm going to bed. I didn't have any electronics on. I didn't have the TV on. I didn't have anything. I was just like, God, can you speak to me? And I woke up this morning and I read that devotional. And I know that that's technically a screen, but like, I read the devotional and I was like, oh, you're speaking to me through this. And so he's going to show up some way, shape, or form. You just have to trust that. And I think it's just you people will constantly ask, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I connect with God? How do I pray to God? How do you get so close in your faith? And I'm sitting here struggling so badly. I think you just have to start. And you actually have to do it, instead of sitting here looking for the answer on all these outside resources, like the prayer Zoom, or like someone else preaching to you. I think it's so important for you to actually get the connection of like God himself by praying and by reading the Bible. And so I think that that's really helpful. And Brooke, you are more than welcome to say something.
It's just a couple of things back. You had talked about like praying and or doing a devotional in like peace, like a peace and quiet versus not. And I did a devotional actually just on this, because I get up and I have my mom time. I'm that 4 o'clock in the morning kind of person. But the only reason I have that is because Granger wakes up so early. And like yesterday he woke up at 5:30. Oh my gosh, I got it. Oh, there we go. And I did a devotional on like finding like mamas who struggle to find time with God. And so for me, I am someone who definitely wants that like quiet time. And I definitely like, I won't even go to our Sunday school because I don't have childcare. Like my husband goes, which is fine, but I won't take Granger in there because I'm someone who wants like peace and quiet when I do stuff, which I like understand why. And I respect other people that don't. But this devotional, she was talking about to her pastor. So the she is her and the pastor is the pastor. But she said, your whole life right now is worship. In this season, you are like a drink offering poured out before the Lord. What you're doing matters, and God sees it. He sees you. He accepts you. He loves you right where you are in the middle of the chaos. And she realized she had been waiting for the perfect quiet moment to worship him, but there was not going to be the perfect quiet time in this season. And I think this applies to even not moms, because like your dogs could go do something, or someone could come to the door, or like your friends could be over or whatever. But yes, hi. So the girl's pastor encouraged her to change her perspective, to set aside the idea of quiet time and instead commit to having some loud time with the Lord every day. Her children could sit and play at her feet while she read the Bible. She could tell them she would be right here, but that she needed time with God. Let them see her faithfully digging into the word, her pastor said. Let them see her praying. Most of all, her pastor encouraged her not to get frustrated or feel like a failure when she was interrupted to fix a Lego creation, change a diaper, or settle a dispute. The Lord sees you and your whole life is worship. And so I just felt like it went along with what you were saying about trying to find the like that perfect time to pray. And like even honestly, sometimes when I'm in the car with Granger and he's like talking too loud or he's crying or whatever, I'm literally praying in that moment. And I know he's gonna see that. So I just wanted to share because it rocked my world when I read that.
No, I think that's really valuable because I do have like this insecurity, but it's not even just the insecurity. I think it's just a real fact that like I'm not a mom yet. And so like sometimes people can't relate to that and I can't relate to moms. So like when people are like, my kid's up here screaming, crying, I can't get any work done. And like my mind, I'm like, dang, that really sucks, but like, okay, I understand. And so like I think it's really good to hear it from a mom's perspective because we have so many moms. I feel like now our team is like majority moms. Okay, I have majority moms on my team, which I love it because I have a dang passion for moms. Like anytime I sign up a mom in this business, I get so excited because my mom struggled so badly to support us, and like I just never want to see moms struggle. And I know moms are superhumans, like literally superpowers. So I just respect you guys. So I think that that's really helpful. And then something else. I'll give y'all this tip, and y'all can go ahead and drop your prayer requests below. So we don't like take up too much time. And if you've never been on this before, the prayer request, you can literally say, unspoken. You can be as detailed as you want. You can pray over someone else. It does not matter. There's literally no judgment here. And you won't have to speak. You can just type it out and say whatever it is. And then we'll pray over you at the end. So anyways, but a tip that I have too, and you said that you were praying in the car, is every time I'm in the car, I listen to worship music. And if I'm not listening to worship music, I listen to a sermon. If I'm not listening to a sermon, I listen to personal development. If I'm not listening to anything and I feel like I need silence, I pray to God. And I can tell y'all from those rides, like it's crazy because I'm not like like I pray, but I don't sit here and just like sit in my bed and just pray for an hour. When I'm in the car, I could literally pray for a full hour. Like I've actually timed myself, and the longest I've prayed is 45 minutes because I was in the car. And it was just like a talk with God. So I'm already a talker anyway. So like when I'm talking to him, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, let's just talk back and forth. And so use those times even in the car when you're like, I don't have time for myself. But if you're just going to drive and pick up some medicine and it only takes like 5 minutes, I tell you, I promise you it makes a difference. So I would really challenge you guys to do that, and just let me know if y'all have any questions, but I just know that I do that and it really helps. I'm going to stop this recording.